An action-packed revenge story, a truly stunning world to roam, a redeeming yet sad character arc, and one of the greatest soundtracks to be produced for a video game. Assassin's Creed 2 sold over 9 million copies and is arguably one of the finest video games ever made. Replaying it in the modern day has not dampened the love of the game. Instead, it's made me realise what a truly breathtaking work of art this game is. It built upon the foundations of the first game, which introduced the ideas of assassins versus Templars, and the gameplay abilities of stealthily attacking your foes and free running and free climbing the faces of buildings. Assassin's Creed 2 went one step further. It introduced far quicker climbing mechanics, new weapons to use, the ability to swim, and a day-night feature giving you a sense of time. Most importantly, it introduced a kick-ass protagonist in the form of Ezio Auditore da Firenze, a badass with an even more impressive and sexy sounding name. Play as him for 10 minutes and you'll realise this is a very special character. The action, the mischievous nature, the womanising, the fighting with Vieri di Pazzi, you know you're in for a good ride with Ezio. So what's the game about? The game picks up right after the conclusion of the first, and was shown Desmond Miles escaping Abstergo with Lucy. He's taken to a safe house in an unknown location and introduced to Sean and Rebecca, who help run the operation. It's explained that they need to train Desmond in the ways of the assassin through the bleeding effect, which allows him to learn his ancestor's skills at an increased speed. With the Animus, Desmond travels back to the 1400s and Renaissance Italy. There he relives the memories of Ezio Auditore, a charming but brash young man whose family is betrayed and framed for a plot to overthrow the ruling Medici family. Upon the death of his father and two brothers, Ezio sets out to become an assassin to seek revenge for his family by assassinating all of those involved in the plot and destroying the Templar Order. However, what really interests me about this game is the actual character arc of Ezio. The character arc of Ezio is arguably one of the finest in video games. We're introduced to our protagonist after his mother gives birth and his father holds the child whilst he fights to take his first breath. It's a nod to the character's strength and ability to fight, which will be a recurring theme throughout the entire game. Before Giovanni, his father holds him aloft and announces his name will be Ezio Auditore da Firenze, a quite epic moment that still gives you chills to this day. We then move forward to Ezio's former years and are introduced to a troublesome young man who continues to act immaturely, specifically his regular brushes with Vieri di Pazzi. Ezio is an arrogant, brash, womanising character who clearly has not yet found his meaning in life. His conversations with his brother and his late night escapades with Christina demonstrate this. And we spend the first hour of the game running away from physical altercations and acting as a courier for his father. However, the game is immediately turned upon its head as the plot to overthrow the Medici is uncovered, and Ezio's father and two brothers are also, in air quotes, implicated in the plot. Ezio manages to avoid the ensuing chaos as he's out delivering letters on his father's behalf, and his sister and mother are initially spared after putting up some resistance. Ezio manages to get his mother and sister to safety before uncovering the plot and what his future is as he shares an incredible moment in this game with his father after he climbs to the top of the Palazzo prison. This is where we uncover Ezio's heritage and a glimpse into what his future now looks like as an assassin. The game really goes into overdrive from here on out. Ezio's father and two brothers are executed for their role in the plot in what is arguably one of the most heart-wrenching scenes in any game history in my opinion, and Ezio must now mature at an incredibly rapid rate to be able to ensure that he can save not only himself but his mother and sister and be able to exact revenge on those who had betrayed his family. After some time we are introduced to Uncle Mario, Giovanni's brother, Ezio's uncle and a fellow assassin who offers to teach a young Ezio the ways of the assassins, their secrets, and what his father was previously working on. His uncle resides in Monterione, and I'm not going to lie, I can barely say that, which is the Auditore family home, and becomes Ezio's hideout. After much training and words with his uncle, Ezio decides to honour his father's legacy by continuing and finishing his work. Ezio then departs to kill those involved with the Templar plot to murder his family, and takes out one after the other in the cities ranging from Florence to Venice and Rome, seeking and exacting his revenge. As this plays out, Ezio unravels the history of the Templar and Assassins conflict, and he realises the scale of everything he's now involved with. Ezio's incredible transformation in this game goes from a lost, cocky young man with little direction and into a fully fledged, respectable assassin who pursues vengeance. and also pursues the answers to the Templar conspiracy and the knowledge that his father was seeking. We see the transformation within the game, specifically after he kills Vieri di Pazzi and goes on a foul-mouthed rant as he dies. Mario intervenes to demonstrate to him that the dead deserve respect and not to become Vieri as he continues his journey of discovery, something which Ezio embraces, and we see him then treat all of his remaining vengeance kills with respect for their death, no matter the situation. It's a quite beautiful arc for Ezio, specifically in this first game. However, when playing on, the sad reality of his overall character arc, specifically the 3 games, is that at the end he has the realization that his father and himself were nothing more than conduits for something that he didn't understand, but he did at least realize that it was larger than he could ever imagine or discover in his own lifetime. He's iconic because he's flawed, but develops a character that is adored because of the man he really transforms into. He becomes a force for good, and we don't have this sense at all that he's anywhere near a complete character, especially after the conclusion of the first game. And it really is a wonderful transformation for a beloved character, and one of the key reasons that he's universally loved. Another aspect of this game which is pretty incredible is also the setting. What immerses the player is that beautifully crafted open world environment, and it's set in some truly beautiful locations. The level of detail included in the 3 main cities of Florence, Venice and Rome are quite simply stunning, and you can spend hours literally free running the amazing rooftops and climbing the faces of some truly historic buildings. The Renaissance feel was an absolute masterstroke in my opinion, because it all felt just so authentic. Lots of time and research and passion were clearly put into crafting these environments, and it really does tell. I've yet to find a game where the open world was as enjoyable as this one. So I mean, why is the game considered such a masterpiece, and why was it such a roaring success? Well, I think firstly, the game's story and its characters are well written and engaging. The protagonist, Ezio Auditore, is a complex and relatable character whose personal journey of revenge and self-discovery is the driving force behind the game's overall story. The game also explores themes of power, freedom, Renaissance political and religious conflict, and the true nature of history, which adds depth and meaning to the overall gameplay. Secondly, the game's open world setting is beautifully rendered and immersive. Set in Renaissance era Italy, the game's cities and countryside are richly detailed and offer a wide variety of activities for the players to engage in. The player can explore famous landmarks, interact with NPCs and engage in various side missions which add to that overall sense of immersion. Thirdly, the game's gameplay is smooth and polished. The game's parkour mechanics, stealth gameplay and combat system are all well designed for the time, and the game offers a good balance of challenge and fun. Lastly, the game's score and voice acting are both incredible. The game's music, composed by Jesper Kyd, adds to the game's atmosphere and enhances the player's experience, and the voice acting is top notch, bringing the game's characters to life.